Limited encompasses two very different formats. In one, you control your card pool, and in the other, you don't. Because Flesh and Blood pre-release events are sealed format, and players will get what they get, I highly suspect that Ninja will be largely represented at the top tables this upcoming weekend. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. We are only a couple of days out, some of us only 2 days away from being able to get our dirty paws on some early product for Outsiders. That's right, the pre-release events are this weekend, and they are sealed format, which presents a very interesting challenge for players because you are really trying to maximize your card pool. And based on that, I really do think that Ninja is in the best position to succeed in the limited format. So I'm going to kind of explain why. Obviously, we're on small screen today, so we can go through the card galleries and really get a good picture of why I'm making the argument that I'm making. Now, I want to be clear about something. I do think draft is going to be a completely different story. The set looks really cool to get in that format. We're going to be doing drafts on opening weekend, so as will many others across the world. So we'll get a much better picture of that at that point. But yeah, in sealed, players aren't competing to curate their card pools, for lack of a better term, but rather they're trying to maximize the value of the card pools that they're given. And as such, in that type of an environment, let's say it this way, the card pools that require less specific synergies or have easier synergies tend to succeed, right? Which I believe the Ninja class is best set up for within their card pool. So let's go ahead and pull up the gallery, okay? And I'm starting at Ninja because that's why I want to start with that case, and we can go look at the other classes. And I also, as we're going through this, I would be remiss to not point out the inherent weapons that are in, right? The inherent advantage that Ninja has in the weapons available to them as compared to the other classes. Remember, Assassin has the daggers, but they are a 2-pitch dagger. Now, they don't care about a blue 0. That's fine. But that makes it a little challenging from trying to play like a 2/6 or something like that, right? If they are trying to play a 2-drop, they're not going to be able to dagger and 2-drop. So it's going to change things a little bit from that perspective, whereas the ninjas with Kodachis, now sure, there's no Ira in this case. It's both of them are Kodachiing for 1, unless of course Benji hits an attack in between, then he can Kodachi for 2, but same value transferring there, so you get it. But having the Kodachi thing is very strong, especially when you consider that Ranger, no matter what they do, it's going to use them card. So I think that's an inherent advantage. So remember that as we go through this, paying attention to the number of blue 0s that we have, as well as kind of the natural cost of things for all working off of 1 blue pitch. All right, so also just want to do a real quick recap. Again, I'm working off just my notes here, so I'm looking to the side. But in your sealed pool, right, based on the card breakdown, I'll throw that up here, or the pack breakdown, I should say. Now, we don't know exactly how the classes will break down in that, so I think it's relatively safe to assume it'll be roughly 33%, minus, of course, the generics. But remember, the generics are usable by everybody. Mostly, obviously, again, I'll make the case that I think Ninja actually has that advantage with the Kodachis. But we're looking at roughly 66 commons, right? At minimum of 66 commons, right? That we have the foil, remember, can be anything, so that's your wild card. We're looking at 66 commons, looking at 12 rare or higher in your 6 packs. And then, yes, you have 6 foils, which will be your wild cards in that. Okay? So you've got that all going for you in your sealed pool. But the absolute disparity of, as intended, of commons is relevant. So that's really what I want to look at, because that's what you're going to be getting most. All right, so let's go ahead and right now what you see is like back heel kick. Where I really want to draw your attention are cards like Be Like Water, Deadly Duo, Descendant, Gust Wave, Head Jab, which is it was a good card in WTR Limited. Surging Strike, not as much, but then Twin Twisters. And the reason I like these, 5 cards, is they all have natural go again. They all cost 1 or less, right? That's why I'm not as big on Surging, but just stick with me on that one, right? Because you can Kodachi Kodachi, play this card, and then it still has go again for maybe another card, depending on what's going on. That's a pretty strong basic line, working out of just a common pool, and it has natural go again that you don't have to worry about. Now, yes, we will give attention to Solitary Confinement and hissing with stealth cards, not ignoring that, but by and large, this is a pretty good common pool. Furthermore, I think what's really strong is going back to 1-2 punch. This is a common combo with head jab, right? If head jab was the last attack this combat chain, this has, when it hits a hero, do 2 damage to them, right? Red, yellow, and blue. Benji's salivating at those 2. Pretty good, right? I think that's going to end up being very strong. And then we have the Twin Twisters line. Vroom, vroom, big cards, yay. Such a man. All right, big heel kick. Okay, if Twin Twisters was the last attack this combat chain, it has, if this back heel kick would gain attack, instead it gains that much +1. And again, it's the same type of thing. It's a 0 to 1 for Benji, looking pretty good. But these are common combo lines. So even if the, let's say, 10 to 11 rares you get, hopefully you'll get an M or 2, but more than likely 1. Okay, so let's say the 10 to 11 to 12 rares you get maybe a couple class cards. Sure, maybe they fit in, maybe they don't. But even if you're looking at just your common pool, this is a very, very, very strong common pool for Ninja, in combination with the fact that they stab for 1, 3 go again, and then some sort of finisher. That's a 3-card hand to do that, right? Assuming one of those is a blue 0, which is how you would play it. I think that's pretty strong in limited format. All right, so now let's go up to Assassins, what they have available. Now, do remember that we do have Spider's Bite available as a token, okay? So that will be the one available to the Assassin class. If they do pull one of the other daggers, great for them, that's fine. But let's just be working off Spider. And again, even if you do, they're all functionally the same. They're a 2 attack for 1 with piercing, and your armor's not really much of a relevance in this set overall if you go down and look at the equipment. All right, so let's go down and look at the common card pool. It starts right here. So it's essentially a whole load of stealth cards, right? We have Infect, Isolate. The one that is important is Prowl. Next stealth card you play, this Chane gains +1. That's pretty good with Arachne. Then you have the whole chain of blood of, hit, generate token. Then you have Razor's Edge, which is your attack reaction. So it's not as good. It's just not, right? You have a whole bunch of, even best case, 0-3s. You're probably going to get a mix of 0-3s, 0-2s that you'll end up playing. It's just not as good, right? And I get that Arachne Solitary Confinement has the built-in go again, which was part of my overall argument for the strength of the Ranger cards, but they don't have the combo type synergy, and they certainly don't have the Kodachis. All right, so now let's go down into the mixed class, Assassin Ninja. Some other cards I want to call attention here are pretty good, which is Plunge. This is basically Brandish. Brandish was a card out of Monarch. That's essentially what this is for daggers. And then we have another attack reaction, but this one is available to Assassins and Ninjas. So yes, that benefits Assassin as well, but Ninja, it's not quite a Razor Reflex because it doesn't do the go again thing, but it serves that same purpose as what Razor Reflex did. And for those of you who did WTR draft, that was very strong, right? So yes, Assassin has 2 reactions available to them in the common pool, but Ninjas do 2, and it can do both their daggers and their attack actions. It's very, very, very strong, right? Very, very strong. Right, so now let's go up to the Rangers. Now, the Rangers' biggest problem in this format is going to be, without question, the fact that they don't have a weapon that can do damage. That said, their stuff hits for a lot more, so that's the trade-off there. The aim tokens are easily done by both, with the Barbed Castaway for Riptide, and then obviously Azalea's New Crow's Nest, both of which are tokens. So I'm not overall worried about that. But if we go in and look at a lot of the commons here, some of them are very, very, very good, right? Infecting Shot being very, very strong. And maybe if you do get a whole bunch of red arrows, maybe you go for it, maybe you do. But by and large, if you're only swinging for, let's say, 4, because you only have yellow arrows or something like that. And again, I'm not undermining the fact that like you could get a good Ranger card pool, but I think statistically, Ninja's probably favored. Then going down into the generics, we have a whole bunch in this set, a whole bunch of, let's go where the commons start. Here we go. So we have a whole bunch of 2s in the common set. Now there's non-2s as well. There's, the 0s. And again, anybody can use these. But the thing with the 2s is, unless you're doing the Uzuri thing, which means that you'd have to have, in that case, enough stealth cards to basically act as pitch and enough of these 2 pluses with relevant on hits to be good, or not to be good, to work. So again, you could pull the pool, but seems a little harder than just throwing down a 0-3 with Go Again, to me. And then, again, like Ravenous Rabble works for it. Now, you're probably not playing that in Ninja, right? Because you probably pull in yellows and blues, but, that's a thing. Come to Fight, everybody can use that. Yeah, it's just, but to my point of the Kodachi 2 line, right, it's not going to be a problem to get blue 0s. Like, it's not going to be a problem. There's enough of them in the set. And there are a good number of these 2/6 cards that in many other sets we've seen, Ninja wouldn't even think about running something like that. But because it's so prevalent, you're not going to be hamstrung if you load up with a bunch of those even, right? It's not even going to be a weakness. So again, it gets a blue pitch for a 1 into a 2/6. Or, you're probably not running 2/5s, to be honest with you, Ninja, I get it. But no other faction can do that, right? Assassin would have to basically just do the 2/5 or do the stealth into it with Uzuri. And effectively, that's the same. So, yeah. Now, to cap this off, again, I'm not saying that the only playable... Hopefully what you're taking from this is that I'm not saying the only playable faction is Ninja. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that statistically, Ninja will have the most consistently strongest card pools, right? So if you were to do the 20 people at your pre-release, I think the majority of them are going to find that they have average card pools and will thus more than likely default to Ninja, because I think Ninja will look like the better card pool out of that. It doesn't mean there's not going to be somebody who jams home a great Ranger deck. It doesn't mean there's not going to be somebody in the room who jams home a great Assassin deck. But I think that the default will probably be Ninja. And as such, I think we're going to see a greater percentage of Ninjas doing well at it. That's really the basis of the statement. But let me know if you folks disagree. The cool part about this pre-release, though, right, and probably my favorite part about it, is a lot of people are just going to show up and play what they want to play, which I think is pretty cool. And you don't have to worry about it because you show up, you rip your packs, everybody shows off, takes pictures, and you play and have a good time. So anyway, that's my take. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. Nothing else, folks. Have a great pre-release weekend, and go Commando.